So good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. And thank you so much for being here once again. It is February 2022, and we're here for another edition of Talk Dispatch with Tawana. And this month, we have Mr. Jorie here, Jorie Myers. If you guys don't know Jorie Myers, that means you're not on Clubhouse. Because Jorie Myers takes Clubhouse to a whole nother level. But he brings in the necessary people to help you guys get engaged, help you guys learn the industry, and to kind of hear it from the horse's mouth. So welcome, Jorie. We definitely thank you for being here tonight. This is one of our, I do this once a month, and, just like your platform, we try to bring on people that have the knowledge and education and, are here to help uplift the people and give them, the information that they need to be successful. So it's real low key. We're going to talk a little bit, then we're going to allow them to ask some questions. And and then we're going to end this night. We're going to try to end it in less than 2 hours, like they always try to hold me hostage. But that just means that, they're trying to soak up all the knowledge, and that's definitely what we're here for. Yes, so a little bit about Mr. Jorie. Did not know you were born and raised in Brooklyn. I just knew you was a Southern boy.
No, I'm very Southern. I was born in Brooklyn. I moved to North Carolina when I was in diapers. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my family's from up there, but I was raised in the South.
Gotcha. That's why you don't talk like Snapper.
Right. Back in the day in high school, I might have tried to, but no.
But not no more.
No.
That's what's up. So born in Brooklyn, but now you currently here in Atlanta. You have 2 degrees from Mack Robinson School of Business at Georgia State University. Yes, and you're owner of a few businesses. I want to hear about all of them. And of course, the moderator of the Transportation Logistics Clubhouse every Wednesday at 7 p.m., correct?
Correct.
Okay, we'll let you talk a little bit about that later. And married to your high school sweetheart. Jorie, you look like you just came out of high school, like.
Hey, well, I received that. Thank you.
You look like you just came out of high school like 2 days ago, and you aspire to have a 4PL operation headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. Claim it, my brother. You know how I always say it's definitely possible. God has a way of working in mysterious ways, honey, and all we have to do is continue to stay faithful. And when I tell you I got some news today that continues to uplift my faith and let me know that I'm on the right track and just keep doing what God asked me to do. But we're not gonna preach today because that's Miss Tina's job. That's Miss Tina's job. We might let Miss Tina come in and preach a little later. We're gonna get right into it. And like I said, you guys, I'm gonna keep you on mute, but if you have any questions, have anything to share, have any comments, raise your hand or drop something in the comments. But we definitely want to be sure that we get to your questions today. So we're gonna start off with one of the biggest ones. First of all, can everybody see my screen?
Perfectly.
Okay. We're gonna start out with one of the biggest ones. What are some of the mistakes that you see dispatchers make in this industry?
Okay, well, cool. Well, look, let me just say thank you. Ms. Tawana, I truly appreciate you allowing me on your platform. And, even before coming on your platform today, just being a resource that I can call, ask questions. It was a blessing to be able to support you this past weekend. As I told you there, it was definitely meant to, I needed to meet you in this season of my life. All the positive things that you're doing, I truly appreciate you even allowing me to be a part of it. And, even supporting me, like you've been on the Clubhouse, you've been, even when I went to the Leading Ladies of Logistics conference, I appreciate you. So I just wanted to go ahead and say that.
You are very welcome. I thank you for being here as well.
Yes, ma'am. So look, as far as what are some of the mistakes that dispatchers make? There can be so many, but I would say the main thing is wanting to do everything, but not having the system to do anything efficiently. I know back in the day, even when I was a dispatcher working for a corporation, it took me a little bit to get the way things were supposed to go. When the driver got loaded and was about to leave the shipper, I didn't know that I needed to communicate that type of information to the brokers to keep everybody updated. So it's just like understanding when you need to act and having a system that kind of like supports you acting when you need to act. It takes time though. Definitely takes time. What would you say is a big mistake that dispatchers make?
I think one of the biggest mistakes is education. There's so many different platforms for people to learn in this industry. But unfortunately, people get a lot of miseducation. Then that miseducation is passed on as well. So I definitely feel like education, starting your, I encourage everyone, if this is what you want to do, start your own dispatch company. And even if necessary, work for someone else first. Until you get your feet wet and get your ground settled to actually own your own dispatch company. But education comes in it where, you're learning the equipment. For example, I had a young lady, we were doing a mentorship call in my office this past week, and she's like, I want to dispatch for hot shots, and I want to dispatch for flatbeds, and she just wants to dispatch for everything. And God knows I encourage it. I encourage you to learn every piece of equipment. But anybody knows in my training sessions, I always say, learn a couple of pieces of equipment first before you say I dispatch for all equipment. Because you make the mistake like this young lady could have made, where she had her first carrier and he had a hot shot, and she was mistaking a hot shot and a flatbed to be the same thing. And I was like, no, two totally different things, totally different rules and things like that. So for me, it'll definitely be education. I definitely feel like you have to continue to learn. I learn every day in this industry.
No doubt.
I am no expert in dispatching. I teach what I know, and what I don't know, I refer out and tell someone to go find someone else. So
right. I would say this. I agree with you with the education piece, and it's really nice when I learn new things. I want to say for some reason, this is one little thing that just came up recently, that whole concept of a certificate holder and what does that really mean? Whereas I thought that really held some weight. You put your name in there as a, certificate holder. I thought you were indemnified. I thought that it meant that you were not going to be, they couldn't come after you. You were protected. Whereas, no, that's just proof that
tell us what it really means, Jorie.
That's just proof that they have insurance on that particular day, because they could change their coverage that day and it's no longer valid, so valid. It's just those type of, I don't know where I got the miseducation up front, but when I do get the proper education, it just really solidifies things. So you're right. Education is a huge piece of that.
Yeah, we're constantly learning, definitely that COI or certificate of insurance is on, when a broker says to you, have your courier add me as a certificate holder, that's just basically saying on that load, if anything was to happen to that load and a claim had to be filed, that the check was going to be written to the certificate holder on that load before anything. So if the claim on it was $10,000 and there was a check that was going to be written for $15,000, C.H. Robinson gonna get their money first, and then you'll get what's left over. That's basically, a lot of times people file claims and they get the money, but then they don't pay the people that they're just supposed to pay with the claim. So with the certificate holder, it guarantees that they're going to get their money. So this is why a lot of brokers will say, before we move this load, be sure that I'm a certificate holder on your load.
Right.
So we learn every day.
Every day.
We learn every day. So when you coming into the industry, how did you learn? How did you learn, or how did it come about that Jorie wanted to be a dispatcher?
So I was actually working for a major industrial supplier, and this was an organization that had about 700 trucks, warehouse, distribution centers, probably like 15 across the nation. And I was running their LTL division, so allowing our random customers to do LTL shipments, and we would use, they would use their infrastructure to move products from branch to branch. They had about 2,000 branches across the nation too. So somebody could go into one store, drop off a palletized lawnmower, and it'd be routed through our infrastructure to their closest branch at their destination. So I was doing that. So that kind of gave me the familiarity with what it is to be like kind of third-party logistics and dealing with customers. But then I believe the person that began training me, she left, and they had 3PL drivers. They had probably like 6 semis that they needed to have dispatch. So I started dispatching the 53 footers, and eventually I did that for maybe about 2 years. Got up to about 13 semis that I was dispatching on a daily basis, and all dry vans. So that was my introduction, was all dry vans. That's what I knew. So even the fact that me now dispatching box trucks, that was hard. That transition was so hard. Like, it was a punch in my gut. I was like, I've been on this load board for 6 hours, and I haven't gotten a load. Yeah, I hadn't gotten a load that I wanted to get, and this is so it was a rude awakening, but it was what I needed to kind of transition into being self-employed. I'm still working on that whole business owner aspect. I'm self-employed until I get my systems in place where I got everybody doing the stuff for me, like you. So like the way you got yours set up. So
it's coming. We're gonna work on that this year.
Right. No, I'm claiming it. It's happening. No doubt. But yeah, that's how I got into the industry, working for an industrial supplier. They taught me the game. I wasn't getting paid much, but it definitely worked out in the long run, because now I have knowledge that nobody can take from me. And this is an industry that, is booming right now.
Absolutely. Do you feel like it's a difference between dispatching independently and dispatching for a company?
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Definitely. There are a lot of safeguards dispatching for a company. You can do bad. You still gonna get your little check.
You still gonna get paid every week.
You still gonna get your little check. You be like, oh man, I ain't hit gold. Dang. All right. But now you are dealing with people who have real lives. They're dependent on this money. They're dependent on this income to grow themselves, grow their families, their businesses, develop here and there. And, at the end of the day, you got to be there. So it's much different. Even when it comes down to responsibilities, in the corporation, there were some parts of my job that would be considered back office. And I didn't know what back office meant. But now understanding, like, you do have to, say, all right, am I going to be doing this portion of the paperwork too? Or is that something you're going to hold? You know what I mean? So it's just also knowing the boundaries of what you're doing.
Absolutely. And with that being said, when it comes to that type of stuff, as independent dispatchers, which we are, what are some of the things that you feel like is just automatic being a dispatcher for a carrier? Like, what are some of the things that you automatically should be doing and not be charging extra for? So for me, it's definitely, great communication, carrier packages, and, other things, after that will definitely come in. But what are some other things that you feel like is included with your services as a dispatcher?
I feel like everything before the load, everything, and then lane selection, coming up with the, all right, so identifying the load, actually doing the negotiating, closing the deal, dispatching the load out to the carrier, getting that paperwork from the carrier, taking that paperwork and submitting it back to the broker, just to make sure, hey, player, this got delivered, this is it, and then you kind of have to decide from there, is invoicing included? You know what I mean? So I feel like everything is included up until the point that you're getting to invoicing, just because that's when you start teetering that line of what is back office support, you know. So that would be my answer. I mean, it just depending on which brokerage it is and which carrier. I have different relationships. You know, some people, you know, they're good with technology. They already have their system. All they want from me is the fact that I have relationships that get them the freight that they need to, you know, have to get wherever they need and the rates they need. They know that. Other people, it's like, dang, they can't even get a factoring company and they're not tech savvy. So what am I going to do? Well, you know, so it just depends. But everything up until invoicing, that's what I would say is automatic.
Okay, so from looking for the load, communicating with the driver, completing carrier packages, all the way down until you get that final BOL saying the load has been delivered, and he's good with that particular load is included in your percentage as a dispatcher.
Yes, ma'am. That is exactly what I would say. Yeah. Are we missing out on anything of what you would consider automatic?
I think that was a good answer. And I asked that question because I get that all the time. You know, I had one young lady ask me, she said that she charged $10 every time she completes a broker package for her carrier. And I'm like, why? And she says, because there's so many. And I was like, I said, no, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Right. Yeah.
That's definitely a part of your services. You know, when it comes to, you know, being an independent dispatcher, when these carriers contract you to do a service for them, all they want to do is drive. The last thing they want to do is fill out a 6 to 20 page broker package on their phone or
on the road.
All right, while they're driving. So, you know, the essentials for me is definitely that communication, making sure you're communicating back and forth with the broker, communicating back and forth with the driver, definitely completing that courier package and making sure they have all the paperwork to submit for invoicing. Anything after that, like you said, is kind of like teetering on that line of what we call back office support. And, you know, and then from there, you know, like you said, depending on the client, sometimes for me, it's depending on the client, depending on how long, I've been dealing with that client and what I know about that client. I may submit it to the factoring company. Other clients I may charge for. It just all depends. But it's definitely about making sure you have that driver retention, and, if you have a good client, we don't want to, nickel and dime them with everything. So we want to make sure that the client is happy, the client is getting paid, and the client is focusing on the main thing, and which is for them is always going to be driving.
Mm-hmm. Agreed, 100%.
So what are some of the things that you feel like make a good dispatcher?
Well, we all know that dispatching is very, very high paced. You start to have a lot of things going on. And I think someone who can remain calm and realize that this is not an individual effort. This is a team sport. I think that having that team mentality is the biggest thing, because it stops the finger pointing when mistakes happen, because mistakes are going to happen. This is trucking. Murphy's Law is legit. Anything that could happen would happen. So that means some bad stuff happened. So I would just say, once people, are more willing to accept that mistakes have been made, but see the goal of getting that load delivered as more important, once you get there, all the other stuff kind of just falls into place. So I would say someone that has that ingrained in them is going to do well. But also, because there's so many things going on, if you're able to structure yourself and be disciplined to maintain that structure, things are going to work out better for you, because you might have talked to a broker 6 months ago that says, yo, I got 50 loads leaving this one small city in that very random state every single day, and then it's going to be that one time that you're stuck somewhere within 50 miles, and if you didn't remember or have a way to reference that conversation, now you just lost. But you could have been able to, come up big. Right. So, having that structure, that discipline to maintain that structure and a way to recall conversations. You're talking to so many different people, so many different brokers. So you just got to have a way of recording that information so you can recall it.
Absolutely. How do you feel about relationships? You know, I know, of course, when we're first starting dispatching, we're always thinking about load boards and dealing with load boards every single day. For me, it was definitely a big jump when you were able to, I'm not going to say get rid of the load boards, but more so lean on relationships. So relationships versus going to a load board and looking at what's left over. So how do you feel about relationships, and how do you leverage a relationship in this industry as a dispatcher?
So this is a relationship game. Mm-hmm. Without relationships, you're gonna live on the load board, and nobody can, be on the load board 100% and expect to do the numbers that they want to do. Not at least, but not for a long. It's not going to last forever. Right. It's not going to last forever. You might be hitting here, but soon you're going to be slipping there. Right. But relationships are everything, and it's something beautiful to feel it when the broker has the opportunity to post something on the load board, but they bring it to you first. Actually, they give you the lion's share. They're like, hey, I got boom, 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 and boom. Which ones do you want?
Spreadsheet hit different.
Yeah, it does. It feels really, really good. And you're like, how did I even get here? It's by, being a fair person, understanding that we humans, wins are for real. I might take a little bit more on this load, but if you're telling me that, all you got in this load is $995, well, technically speaking, I could say, well, give me all of it. No, I'm going to say, now give me 950. You do the rest with that. I mean, just because, that little money ain't going to make that big a difference,
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's about just really cultivating the relationship. They ask you for something, do your best to help them out. If you can't do something, let them know as soon as possible. If you said that you're going to be able to do something, and the moment you find out that it's not going to go down the way that you planned it, communicating that kind of stuff so that they know that you're not just trying to, this isn't a money grab, that you're really here to be professional. So did I answer your question, or were some other parts in there?
You did. You answered my question. Definitely, want to stress the importance of, to me, I always tell people, every time you get a rate confirmation, it's a relationship. So you book that one load, that's a relationship. So I'm constantly going back. Hey, Tom, it's me, Tawana. We booked that load last week. My driver is in that area again. Do you have anything available? I'm constantly sending emails in the morning time saying, hey, here's a list of my truck availabilities. I'm going to continue sending my emails until they tell me, look, stop emailing me. I'll call you when I need you. Every morning I'll get an email like, look, I got a 26-foot truck in Chicago. I got a 53-foot over here. I got this over here. Do you have anything for me this week? Or, what can I help you move? It's all about seeing, whether it's a dispatcher or a freight agent or a freight broker, even, it's all about solving a problem that they have at that time. Like, what problem can I solve for you today? You have a problem lane. How can I help you with that? So, and they start to remember that thing. But if you're not constantly putting your name in their mouth, or constantly, refreshing their memory about a load that you did and how good you ran that load, they're going to forget about you. They're going to go to someone else, or they're going to, post on load board. So, it's always good to leverage those relationships, thanking the brokers, always being sure that you are tracking with them, letting them know, hey, my driver is here waiting to be loaded, or hey, my driver just got his load delivered, making sure they get paperwork without asking for it. Having to chase down paperwork is crazy. We do it as dispatchers from the driver. So we don't want to do the same thing to the broker, especially a broker that we're trying to, build a relationship with, making sure they get everything that they need to continue, to do what they need, and then to come back to you on a later date and say, hey, you ran that load for me. You got any drivers in the area? So those relationships will definitely help to cultivate your businesses along the run. Load boards are great, but relationships are way better.
Can I tag on the back of that one?
Absolutely.
That was weird the way I said that. But look, you said something that is so important. Like they want to feel like they gave the load up, they gave you the load, and they don't have to ask a single question after that. So, that communication definitely makes them feel a lot better. Not having to get, ran down for paperwork definitely makes them feel better. And then that's how you become the preferred carrier. So that's a conversation I have with my clients. It's like, look, you might be used to doing it this way, right? Well, do it this way real quick and see how it changes your situation, how, they then will begin to bring the loads to you versus you having to call every time. So yeah, I agree with you there 100%.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So when you're dealing, when you have these relationships with brokers, how do you approach, because you're in my Slack group as well. So how do you approach lanes, like dispatches and dedicated lanes? How do you approach that situation? I'm a real stickler on that because it's such a thin line drawn when I see a dispatcher posted they have dedicated lanes. So when you're dealing with a broker and you have that relationship, how do you deal with that, or how do you approach that to carriers or maybe even to other dispatchers?
Well, I mean, I guess first things first is asking, what do you have that's consistent, and if that broker does have something that is consistent, well, tell me what your target rate is. Is it trash? Is there wiggle room? Is it something that's marketable, or is it something that you are barely able to cover every single time? Right. And from there goes to be like, what's my next step? If it's something that's attractive, well, I talk. I got co-dispatching agreements, and we can talk about that later. So even if I don't have the units available under my dispatch fleet, or part of my roster, I know other dispatchers, and I leverage the mess out of their trucks. If I got the freight, you got the trucks. Well, look, let's come on.
Absolutely.
50% of nothing. 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. And I learned that. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is a numbers game. Let's run the numbers up. Okay.
Right.
So, so it depends. If I have my own clientele, my own carriers, well, at that point, we're building around those lanes. Something just came to an end for me, but I think something good about to happen, with the reefer box truck, where at least for the last, I don't know, 4 months, we ran the same loads on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and at Thursday became a little tricky, but we had the same exact loads for that entire time. And, it's beautiful when it works. And, it's definitely the goal, because who wants to be on the load board, or who wants to, if you have these things figured out and they paying well, that means that you can utilize that time that you was once on the load board trying to find a load to your benefit, to build your company, build your business, strengthen your company, like look for other lanes to fill the stuff that you're still looking for dedicated stuff for. So those would be my steps. It's just, what is it? Is it good? I would then reach out to my immediate network, and then from there, my extended network. And, from there, it'd be all about executing, getting the folks on that can do it, and building around those dedicated lanes. But just because it's dedicated doesn't mean it's, the best thing since sliced bread. So, it got to make sense. That's it.
Oh, absolutely. I agree 1,000%. Yeah, it definitely has to make sense. For me, when I'm have on my career consultant hat when I'm talking to brokers to help a client get a dedicated lane, you don't want to, get that dedicated lane for too long of a period. I actually have a client in the in kind of like in that situation now where he negotiated a deal and with a dedicated lane for 9 months, but now that fuel prices are so high, he's not really making any money off of that lane because he did it for 9 months versus just doing it for 60 days or 90 days, because there's so many different things that can change in this industry. But once you're locked into a contract, or, you know, to something like a dedicated lane, it becomes very hard for you to make adjustments in that. So, you know, I advised him that, you know, next time you have to put a fuel adjustment clause, you know, in a dedicated lane, stating that, you know, hey, we'll take this dedicated lane, but in the event that fuel changes or fuel goes up or anything like that, we want to be able to negotiate more money on the lane. So that was definitely something that he learned, but definitely on the tip of having a network, I always feel like transportation is one of those things you can't do by yourself. Yeah, you own your own business and everything, but it's all about your network. It's all about who you know. It's all about, you know, leveraging your different relationships, and you definitely have to leverage relationships with other dispatchers as well. Like you said, you could have the freight, you can have that relationship with the broker, but if I have trucks available, or if someone else has trucks available, now it's time for us to legally come to an agreement that, hey, you know, we're going to both dispatch this lane together, and then I'm going to get half, you know, and you're going to get half, which does not teeter along the double brokering lines. Double brokering is more so as a dispatcher, when you post that you have dedicated lanes, you're not telling anybody that you're a dispatcher. But, you know, having a co-brokering agreement is, co-dispatching agreement. It's almost like a co-brokering agreement. Co-dispatching agreement with another dispatcher is definitely a good way to leverage everyone's relationships. If I got 10 trucks and you got loads over there, the object of the game is to always make sure your carrier is moving. It doesn't matter where the load is coming from. The point is, and trust me, your carrier don't care. All he knows is you're only getting 10%. So if you want to share your 10%, that's fine. You're only getting one. But, you know, as that dispatcher, you're just like, look, I just need to get my truck moving. So if Jorie has a load, hey, let's go ahead and make this happen so that my truck is moving and, you know, the truck is happy. And, you know, at the same time, we're still leveraging relationships. So that's definitely a good point. When it comes to co-brokering agreements, love them. I keep saying co-brokering. I'm sorry, y'all. Co-dispatching agreement, because it's kind of like the same thing. You know, there are brokers that do it as well. But, you know, like I said, there's ways of doing that co-brokering agreement and making sure you still stay in the legal standpoints of not teetering into the double brokering area, because we're still dispatchers.
Let's talk about that, if you don't mind. I don't even, you know, want to take over the situation, but we have said the word a few times. Double brokering, y'all. Double brokering.
That's how I feel about that.
It's the funny thing is, here it is. It's disgusting, you know, and I'm just gonna say it like that because, you know, it's a lot of work that goes into uncovering the fact that it's been double brokered, and it's gonna happen. Like, I think I have one of these carriers that I have. She's very kind, but sometimes she books her own loads, you know. And, you know, I want to say in 1 week's time, I had to go through 2 different scenarios to find that the load was double brokered. And, you know, let's just talk about what it is. All right, double brokering is, to me, let's just say an entity. You know, let's say they're a shipper, manufacturer. They say, hey, we're going to get this broker over here to move this freight for us. That's a contract. That load is being brokered one time. Then there is a carrier that is accepting that load and then acting as though they're going to be the ones to deliver said freight to the destination, but then they subcontract out the work. Okay. And at the end of the day, it's just awful. Like, it takes so much time to discover what's going on. And, you know, there's other ways that double brokering happens. You know, a dispatcher can double broker. So it's happened to me in this way. It's happened to me where I had a carrier and I booked a load on their behalf. This is with a broker that I had booked this lane with probably 5 times that same week. I booked it with one carrier, they subcontracted out the work and didn't even tell me, if you're going to do that, at least let me know. No, they didn't let me know. And then the driver of the company they subcontracted it out to, they got a little antsy at the actual pickup to let the whole thing get blown up. So we found out what happened, and it hurts the relationship of what the dispatcher had built with that brokerage. You know what I mean? Like, to this day, they still send me stuff, but I don't have the same relationship. And that's because of what a motor carrier did after I had already, did my job. And a broker, and then a dispatcher can also be guilty of double brokering, whereas they're booking freight for a motor carrier, but they're really running it with another motor carrier. That's also awful. You know what I mean? Like, do you know what happens if there's something adverse that happens on that load? You're playing with other people's business for what, $50, $100, and at the end of the day,
not worth it.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. And then we ain't even talk about rebrokering, because some brokers will rebroker a load because you know what I mean. So my bad to go on that tangent about.
Oh no, but they need to know.
It's a huge thing, and that's it.
That's a whole nother day. But it's important that we talk to our carriers sometimes. I tell people all the time that we spend a lot of time building relationships, whether it's with shippers, with brokers, whoever, with other dispatchers. So this is one of the reasons why I do an onboarding call, because I don't take all carriers on for dispatching. We do an onboarding call to see whether or not it's going to be a good fit for us. I check the safer report to make sure that there's nothing on safer that tells me, hey, this is not a good person to build a relationship with. But I don't dispatch for everyone. So it's important for us to understand that, it's your business. You're an independent dispatcher. So you don't have the right to turn somebody down if you feel like it's not a good fit. So you're out there building relationships and building your brand and putting your brand out there and, saying that you represent this carrier, and then that carrier turns around and does something wrong or does something illegal or does something that messes up not only his reputation, but yours as a dispatcher as well. So it's important for us to vet the people. There's always going to be somebody that slips through the crack. It sounds good that, nothing's ever going to happen, or carriers are always going to do what they're supposed to do, but it just doesn't always happen that way. So, it's important to vet our carriers, but it's also important to make sure that, you're doing everything that's ethical as well as a dispatcher. We get a bad name as it is sometimes in this industry. So it's definitely, important to make sure that, that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing as well as dispatchers. So what the new up and coming dispatchers, or for any dispatchers right now, what is some of the best advice that you can give to someone if you had one thing to say to a new dispatcher, or even someone who's already in this industry? What is one thing that what's one good piece of advice that you would give?
One piece of advice. There's so many things that I would say. I talk a lot, y'all. Putting me on the spot to say one thing is so hard. Look, I was going to say don't cut corners, but I am going to say that don't cut corners. To build a relationship, it takes time. To build trust, it takes time. To do things so that a broker, so that nobody can say anything nasty about your company as a dispatcher. It takes time. Don't cut corners. Just do the work, do it full out. And if it doesn't make you the additional $20, so be it. You want to be in this game for the long money, not the fast money. Long money. Long money takes time. So don't cut corners. When you're building your infrastructure, do it right. Don't cut corners. That's all I got to say.
I like that one. I like that. Don't cut corners. It's your own business, so you have to run it as such. You have to remember a lot of times, most of us probably come from corporate America. So while you're in corporate America, you're doing the best you can. You're trying to pass your matrix. You're trying to get that extra percentage bonuses at the end of the year. So it's like you busting your behind to make corporate America look good. So you have to kind of do double that when it comes to entrepreneurship. Because it's just you running your business, you represent your business, so you have to do double that. So definitely, the advice of don't cut corners is a good one for me, because it's like, why take the shortcut when it comes to your own business, and what you're trying to do for yourself, and the legacy that you're trying to build. So I like that one. That's a good one. So another question I got, carriers, they just fall in your lap, they fall out the sky. People always ask me, where do carriers come from? Like, almost like, where do babies come from? Where you getting your clients? Like, how do I come into this industry and be able to maintain? Where do dispatchers get their clients?
I would say it's a number of places, to be honest. For me personally, I've been fortunate enough to get a lot of referral business, whether it's somebody who I'm dispatching currently and, their cousin just got a truck and they talked about how, I keep them rolling, I'm professional and all these kind of things. Cool. Thank you. But I haven't gotten quite here yet, but it is something that is about to start happening. I'm going to start marketing myself. I haven't marketed myself at all. The only thing that I've been doing.
That's good though. That says a lot that you have the business, and you're doing good, and you have the market as well.
Yeah, I mean, the most that you'll hear me do is, if we're having a conversation about transportation and you ask me what I do, well, now we're gonna have a full conversation about what I do on my platform. I'm building things, I'm crafting things in transportation to talk about all the peripheral things that happen. How do these things intersect? And in there, I'm going to talk about maybe some examples from my day or from my experience, of how it's relevant. But as far as, and I can't knock this, I love my Atlanta dispatch hat. I'm gonna wear that thing as much as I can. I love it. It's the prototype, but I think I'm gonna be getting some more soon. It is, so those are, it's been referral business, but the fact is, if you're trying to go get some clients, you gotta market yourself. You have to go to where the truckers be. And where's that? That's truck stops, that's other places. I mean, I see them at the gym. You know what I mean? If I see somebody walking with something like this on, and they got that little piece, hey, boy, what's up? I'm Jorie. I own Atlanta Dispatch. You know what I mean? You got to do it. You got to be your biggest marketer. I mean, and if you're not good at it, you got to outsource it. I feel like all of y'all do an exceptional job of marketing. Like, you're not afraid to spend money because it's going to bring back the business. And
you can't be afraid to spend money.
Yeah, exactly. So where else would you say?
Yeah, I'll add to that. Definitely referrals is like the number one thing for me. When someone calls me and says, so-and-so gave me your number, or you dispatch for so-and-so and they told me, or you do compliance for so-and-so, it's always a good thing to know that, the drivers are out there, or the compliance clients are out there. The referrals, or the, even getting the, what do you call those things? The reviews. That just shows that you did something right. So it's always, people will tell you getting a referral is like the number one way in business to grow your business. That means that someone who's already paying you for a service is talking about you and saying that your service is good. So that's the best way to get business. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, Right. Outside of that, it's always going to be marketing. I'm gold star wherever I go, whether it's a shirt, whether it's a hat, whether it's my bag, whatever. I am my brand. So I'm always gold star. I always have cards. If I don't have a card, I have my digital QR code. But I always have something about my brand. I'm always listening. I'm always talking. And I go to network events like so, you have to be able to get yourself out there and build your brand. It's all about how much are you trying to get out of this industry. If you just want to do it for a little part-time thing, or if you just dispatching for your boyfriend, that's cool. But if you're trying to take it to another level, or if you're trying to do more with it, you gotta promote yourself. You have to market yourself, and you have to get out there and meet other people. Networking is like so strong and so game in this industry. Wherever you are, whatever counties you're in, whatever states you're in, look up who your local chamber of commerce is. Join your local chamber. I will tell you, my local chamber, I'm a part of 4 chambers here, 3 different counties, and then 1 Atlanta Black chamber. And the chamber relationships I have leveraged so much, and I've gotten so much business just being on the members, what do you call it? The member directory.
Board?
Huh?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say board, my bad.
No, they have, most chambers will have like a directory, and they have their website, like these are our members and this is what they do, and links to their website. It's like $200 a year to join a chamber, and you have all of these different networks and all these different people that are reaching out to you based on, that directory. So I always recommend people to join their chambers, talk to your neighbors. Or, just get out there and brand yourself. So you have truck stops. Jorie said the gym. I need to start going back to the gym. This Peloton got me stuck in the house. When you have Peloton right next to you, it's just like, get out of bed, get on the Peloton. So, but I need to start going back to the gym. But, joining your chambers, going to networking events, of course, social media. A lot of people will say they don't do social media personally, and that's fine. You don't have to do social media personally, but having a business page and a business presence on the web is definitely important. If someone's in your area and they are Googling freight dispatcher in my area, you want to be able to pop up. If you type in right now where you are, freight dispatcher in my area, if you don't pop up, you don't have a great web presence. You don't have a website, or you don't have something that that state that attaches your name to that county or your name to that state. And it's not a lot of money to have a web presence. It's just about purchasing your domain name, making sure your email address is a business professional email address, but promote yourself. And for those people who may not be on social media, who are Googling certain things, you want to be able to be Google. You want to come up in that search. So if you're home right now and you're on your computer and you type in freight dispatcher in my area, or dispatcher for driving, something like that has something to do with it, you should pop up, because you're right where your business is. Your home is your home-based business. If you don't pop up, your web presence is not great. Okay, so that's like one of the cheapest ways to promote your business. Making sure you have your Google business profile done, which means if you type your own business name, on the right-hand side, you'll see all of your information pop up about your business. And that's free with Google. So with anything, you want to make sure that your Google business profile is up and running, especially in your state where you're residing in. But yeah, FMCSA is the ones who actually give out MCs and authorities. So where else you want to go for people who just are coming into this business, or someone to dispatch for? You go to the FMCSA. You type in, your state. They literally they produce a report every single day of all new authorities. You get on that list, you print that list, you call that list. Hey, first off, congratulations on your new authority. I wanted to be able to send you some information in reference to some services I provide. Can I have your email address, please? We can set up some time later to talk, something, but introduce yourself to people, especially people that are in your state. I always encourage people to go through their state first, because you can introduce yourself to say, hey, I'm around the corner for you. Yeah, I'm in Georgia too. I would love to be able to provide dispatch services for you, but you got to be your own billboard. You have to be your own business's billboard. So yeah, that was a lot. Sorry.
That was great. That was great. I think it really helped.
That was a lot. So before we open it up for questions, Jorie, final thoughts, anything that you want to say to these upcoming new dispatchers or anything like that? Any final thoughts for us?
Final thoughts. Actually, it's one of my main.
Somebody calling you with the final thought right
All
now.
right, that's actually one of my main brokers. I would say final thoughts
put us
would
on
be,
hold.
I kind of did. Actually, I'll be hit her back. I'll be hit her right back. But yeah, final thought would be, look, it's definitely possible. You just got to put the work in, and even when you feel like it's getting tough, just keep taking that next step. It's gonna make you're gonna look up and you're gonna be like, man, I came this far. And you're gonna say, yeah, and then you're gonna say, keep going. Just keep going. It's a beautiful thing to put your head down and grind and work, and to see that you are probably doing something you probably didn't think you could do, but it's happening. So just keep on going at it. Just keep working. That's what I would say.
That's what's up. I love it. And tell the folks how they find you.
Oh, so I am Jorie Sean at Jorie Sean on basically all social medias. If you really want to talk to me, it's probably going to be Instagram. So hit me up there. If you are on Clubhouse, my handle is at Jorie. So you can hit me up there. But I would say if you want to talk to me, you can find my email address in my Clubhouse profile. Or you could just hit me direct message on Instagram. I'm very happy to help in any way I can.
And speaking of Clubhouse, what you got next this Wednesday? Who you got?
I have CLC Lodging. CLC Lodging. It is an organization that has all these discounts set in place for folks who need to get these hotels. Okay, so if you're a dispatcher and you're dispatching hot shots or box trucks or day cabs or people who need hotels, this would be a good place for them to get established, registered, and that is because imagine this: instead of having to give your driver a company card, you can have this company established. I mean, you can have this registration established with CLC, and then you can give a card for every one of your drivers, and all they got to do is show this little membership card. It's like a credit card, but all it's doing is saying, hey, you can swipe this. It's going to go on the business account, and you can pay that later. Like it's basically a credit card, but it's for these discounted hotels. And the best part is they have this filter feature where you can say, well, show me all the hotels that have truck parking. And,
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. And I would say this, if you guys are going to do it, use my key code. It says club. Use my key code. And that's because it'll show that them coming, this whole thing took about 8 months for these folks to come onto this platform. So let them know that it's actually working, so use the key code club. Let them know that all the stuff we talked about is actually being used. We have a strong presence in the transportation industry, and that folks really need this service. Their whole slogan is, we need more heads in beds. So, let's get those heads in the beds. Okay. So key code is club, it's free. So you can probably go to my link tree and sign up right now. It don't cost anything to do it.
That's what's up. Love it, love it, love it. All right, Jorie, we definitely appreciate you being here. Hopefully you can stick around for a few more minutes. We're going to open it up for some questions. So you guys have any questions about anything we just talked about, or anything else that you guys have any questions about? I see Miss Jasmine has her hand up, so we would definitely go to Miss Jasmine first. Hey, Miss
Hi, good afternoon. How are you all?
I'm amazing. How are you?
I'm doing great. Y'all had a lot of great information. Someone posted the link for the FMCSA That's what I had a question about. I clicked on it, but I don't see how to access the list. Do you have to register for this service or program?
You talking about the list for carriers?
Yes.
No, I'll do a quick screen share just because I like y'all.
We
It's
like you
real.
too.
It's real simple. Hold on. All right. Share my screen.
I'm gonna go on mute really quick.
Okay, no problem. All right, so FMCSA carrier search. You click on here where it says licensing and insurance carrier search. Y'all can't see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and then at the very top here, you're gonna drop down this menu and you're gonna click on FMCSA register and you're gonna click go. And there's your daily report.
Awesome.
Right? So there's two different ways you can look at it. You can print it, you know, as an HME. You just want to make sure, you know, it's going to give you a lot of different information. So at the very top, you want to make sure, you know, you're not calling any of these guys. These are people that, you know, something happened with their embassy, FMCSA, their authority. So you want to scroll down. It's a lot.
It is a lot.
As you can see, we get some all day and we also lose some. So there's been, you know, revoked, discontinued. So they're coming in and they're also going out. But stroll. Wow, that's a lot of discontinues in one day. Alrighty then. All right, we get to this part here. So you just want to make sure when you get to this particular portion that you're only reaching out to carriers. Okay. So anytime you see this common carrier for household goods, arrangement of transportation of household goods, you already know this is what this guy just set up. A what type of business? The one that I got highlighted.
That's a broker, right?
That's a broker. So you want to make sure that you're not calling brokers. Because I mean, you can call brokers and say, hey, you know, congratulations on your new brokerage. You know, you want to hit me up anytime you have freight available. That's definitely a good way to utilize brokers in that sense. But if you're looking for new carriers, you're looking for interstate common carrier of household goods. Okay. Those are all brand new carriers. All right. So this is one of those lists that you can utilize this list, give these guys a call and, you know, one, thank them on their new MC and, you know, let them know that you are, you know, you're coming in, you're a dispatcher and you want to be able to provide them services. So this is kind of like cold calling. So you're giving them a call, you're introducing yourselves, get their email address, or you can also do a text campaign. Utilize their phone number and do a text campaign that will include maybe your flyer and all of your information, and then maybe a link to set up some time to talk to you later on.
Okay, that sounds perfect. And do you have a specific program or software you suggest for your text campaigns?
I do. I gotta find it. It's called, what is it? Texas. Hold on. I'll find it. Slick Talk is a good one. And then the other one, I'll type in the here. I just typed it in the chat. All right, but those are some good ones for text campaigns. I think the one that I think Slick Talk is the one that will give you like the first 100 for free, the first 100 phone numbers for free. But most of them typically have like trials that you can do a trial, try it out and see how it goes before you actually pay for the service.
Awesome. That's a lot of great information. I just want to do a side note. Your hair looks gorgeous. I'm so loving it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Always pay hair because I sell hair, so I always be looking like, okay, this one cute hair. I got cute.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's good to know it's still going. This is one of those things that I invested in a lot of money, and the girl kept saying, you can use it over and over again. I'm like, no, you can't. But I really
Yes,
used
you
it.
can. That's something
Yeah.
I learned when I started my hair business. Like, you have to really, really test the quality, because I hate like thin hair, stupid as shit, and they can't hold a curl or color. When I found a good one, like, yes, honey, it's worth what I'm charging, because you can reuse it. It's an investment.
It was definitely worth it. Thank you, Miss Jasmine.
Thank you.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions for myself or for Jorie?
That was a good question.
Yeah, she's trying to get those carriers in.
Hey,
That's
to get it.
A business. Let's see. I got a chat here. Where did it go? I just saw a question pop up in the chat.
When setting up your business, once your LLC and EIN is obtained, what else is needed? Or is that it? And is that more so to be a dispatcher? Yeah, you just want to make sure that you have your business set up. I mean, and then I would say, if you're going to get these different subscriptions, what you're going to have to get in order to be a dispatcher, like you're going to, although you don't want to be on a low board, if you're starting out, you need a low board, and from there, it just depends on what type of operation you're trying to run. I mean, you're going to need your QuickBooks. You're going to need a professional email. You're going to, a website. As she gave you all the juice earlier about, as far as like, making yourself referenceable on the web. So all those things still have to happen, but it just depends on what type of business you're trying to have. Like I said, don't cut those corners.
Right. Yeah. So as dispatchers, we don't need we don't need like MCs or authorities or surety bonds and stuff like that. So you want to make sure you have your LLC, your EIN, your DUNS number if you plan on doing anything bigger with it as far as like contracting. And then of course your business bank account, and what's going on out there?
Right.
Your business bank account, professional email. When we say professional email, we mean like info at whatever your domain is. Like mine is info at Gold Star Logistics, or Tawana at Gold Star Logistics. It's really getting to the point nowadays where a lot of these firewalls are not accepting Yahoo. They're not accepting Hotmail. We got a message. If anybody subscribes to sam.gov, there was a message sent out a couple of months ago that said that after whatever the date was, they were no longer going to be accepting AOL and Hotmail emails through their firewall. So you want to make sure you have a professional email address. God forbid if you're trying to send an email to someone that you want to do business with and they're not accepting your email because of your domain. So I promise you, it's a very minimum investment for you to make in order to be able to, broaden your business and look like a business. Yep, Yahoo is blocked by the FMCSA as well.
True. And look, I would also add to that email piece, don't be too fancy, y'all. Look, your boy was trying to be fancy. Well, I have a company called Humble Bee Enterprises. And, I was like, man, that's a long name. Let me do something with this email. And I did humblebee.enterprises, and that's it. It's info at humblebee.enterprises. And some people don't accept it. Some of the restrictions they have on what the email can look like, they don't do that. So yeah, so don't put yourself in that situation if you can avoid it up front.
I agree. What's the best payment processor suggestions?
I use QuickBooks. I mean, but that's because I have Stripe, I have Square, but the majority of my business is going through my QuickBooks.
Yeah, I would definitely say to start out with, because I always tell people to start out minimum. Of course, eventually you're going to want a TMS system, but you can start out with an Excel spreadsheet and use a report. You're going to want QuickBooks for sure, but you can definitely start out with Square or PayPal. But we don't want to accept payment through Cash App or Venmo. You want to be a full-fledged business. So you want to be able to get invoicing and also receive payments that are going to be secure. So Square, Honeybooks, PayPal, but eventually your goal should definitely be setting up a QuickBooks account so you can filter all of your businesses through QuickBooks. I do not like mispronouncing people's names. So Miss Randolph, you had a question. I'm gonna go with that. Sorry, I'm sorry. I don't mean, because people call me Tawana, and I'd be like, where y'all even get that from? So I don't like Miss. So Miss Randolph, because that's easy to pronounce.
Yes, ma'am.
How can I help you?
I'm sorry. A lot of
Now you do your thing.
I just had a more of a question about when it comes to your mentorship and stuff. So I don't know if that was something you wanted me to ask you privately, or if I could just still ask in the group.
Oh, you can ask.
Because I would be just starting out. Like I have nothing whatsoever. So when it comes to your mentorship, like one-on-one and things like that, do you teach someone how to build from the bottom up and how to do everything like the store or the low boards and things like that, build your own contracts and things, or yeah?
Absolutely. So all of my classes are, I call them the A to Z class, because I'm going to teach you how to start your business, how to handle the business portion, how to get the carriers, how to work with low boards. I'm going to teach you A to Z with freight dispatching. I never tell anybody that you're going to take my class and you're going to come out of my class making $1 million. Hopefully one day, but you still have to work toward it. So I have a lot of different levels as far as my mentorship and coaching. Some people take the class and they're good with the class, and then they're good with the support group afterwards, which you can stay in for the rest of your life if you like.
I'm more hands-on visual type of person.
Okay, then you have the people that do the in-person class. You can do in-person. I have an in-person class coming up. I think it's March 19th here in Georgia. If not, you can also set up your own private class. And then from there, if you need additional coaching and mentorship, we have additional, we have our 90-day plan. It just all depends on what you're looking for. But if you go to my website, goldstarlogisticsgroup.com, you'll see a listing of all my coaching, mentorship, and training classes. And after you look at them, if you have any additional questions, just click contact us and shoot me an email, and I'll be more than welcome to answer.
I've seen that, and I think I was wondering if it was mentioned few things on one, but not on like the one-on-one mentorship. Some of those things that was mentioned in one of your things wasn't mentioned in the other, but I was trying to figure out, is it still
the same
because it's so okay?
Yeah, it's the same. Everything that's taught in person, everything that's taught virtually is also taught one-on-one. Some people just selfish and they want me by all to themselves. So it just all depends on how you like to learn. You want to, a private session, you can learn virtually, you can learn in person. It all depends on how you like, what's the best way for you to grasp that information.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see, when is a good time to begin hiring employees? Miss Jasmine, come on back up to the mark. You mean like other dispatchers, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I always tell people the best time for you to hire employees is when you feel like you're not giving your clients the same type of service that you've always given them. That means you got too much on your plate. So the best time to bring on another dispatcher, or if you feel like, you know what, I've done this, I need someone to do this while I go build my brand. That's kind of where I am now. I have my dispatchers that do an amazing job at dispatching. I don't dispatch, okay? I help, I train, I learn, but then I go out there and I build my brand. I bring the carriers, I talk to shippers, I talk to brokers, I build in my brand. So whenever you feel like you're either one, ready to grow, or two, I have so many clients and I forgot to call Tom back and he's not getting the same type of service, it's time for you to either one, stop accepting carriers, or
shut up.
Get someone else to assist you.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Now, for us hiring employees, how would you suggest going about like the train if you're hiring someone that has never dispatched before and you're having to train them?
There's several different ways that you can do it. I have someone that I work with now. Every time she brings on a dispatcher, she pays for half the training and they pay for half the training. And
Okay.
if they stay on with her, I think at least 6 months, then she'll reimburse them back for the rest of the training. So it's different ways. You can ask them to take training and then come back. A lot of times you get I find, I could be wrong and anyone can correct me on this, but I find when people pay for something, they take it a little bit more serious versus me turning around and saying, hey, anybody that want to work for me, I'm gonna give you a free dispatching class and then you can come work for me. I feel like they take it a little bit more serious if they have a little bit more responsibility with it. And I could be wrong, but that's just my thinking.
I definitely agree. I've seen it before myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jorie, what do you think about when is it time to hire?
Well, when you're in Jorie's spot right now, I'm in that spot now, right now. I had to stop accepting new carriers too long ago for me to, still be looking to hire 6 dispatchers, but it's going smoothly. I think I had to get my mind wrapped around the fact that I'm going to have to invest my time into, these people, that I want to work for my company. And, it was just hard for me to pull away from what I felt like I needed to do on the day-to-day to carve out that time to train. But now I got to do it. So right now I'm in a spot where I was doing well. I was doing a lot of carriers, but then I realized I wasn't giving them all the same service that I'm accustomed and I want to give. So I had to pull back, start seeing how can I, be smart about my time so that I can now build into my schedule time to train people. So that's where I'm at. But it started just like Tawana said, when I knew that I wanted to service them at a level and that I was it was kind of slipping through my memory, especially if I wasn't writing something down. It was just like, dang, I was supposed to do that, so.
Right. You start forgetting, oh, snaps, so-and-so still sitting at a truck stop waiting for me to call her back. It's time to hire.
Yeah. So I agree with that 100%.
Good one. Miss S. Cherry, you have your hand up? S. Cherry?
Yes, ma'am. Hi, I'm Shanita Cherry. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Yes.
I'm loving this session, by the way. Thank you for having it. I appreciate it. I am 37 and retired from corporate FedEx and have 14 years of logistics and dangerous goods experience. Now, I actually retired and then started a business, which is I'm in the beauty industry. And I have a storefront, which is contactless, but I'm wanting to run 2 other businesses from there, which is logistics. I want to be a dispatcher. And I wanted to know, with me having dangerous goods experience and certifications, will that actually help me pick up hazmat loads?
I'm going to say one word to you, Jerry, and you can tell me if you agree. Shack. When she said that dangerous goods certifications, you need to be classified in containers. And have you thought about doing like global logistics?
I've been thinking about a lot of stuff, and I'm trying not to lose my certifications. I want to be able to utilize them because I absolutely love dangerous goods. I actually relocated from Seattle, and then when I came to corporate, they created the position for me. So that's my niche. That is my niche. I absolutely love it when it comes to infectious substances, corrosives, and then I made a lot of friends with LTR, or I forget the acronyms. I'm so sorry. I've been retired since June 27. I kind of put that behind me now.
No, but I definitely want you to shoot me a email after class. I'm going to send you some information. I definitely feel like you need to maximize that. If you already have those certifications, I definitely want to put you in contact with Shaq.
Yeah, you'll walk into some stuff that you can leverage that. But I guess to answer your initial question, I think that when it comes to hazmat and dangerous goods, that's kind of based at the driver level. So, as far as picking up, they just got to be hazmat endorsed. So, I mean, if that was answering that question, but I do agree with what Tawana was saying. So.
It's like right now, the only people that I know for certain that I can probably get a contract with is certain relationships I have built with FedEx through the military, and some things that the military, they're trying to move, they have issues with their paperwork. So when they have their declarations and everything, they don't know what they don't know what they're doing.
There's way more relationships that you can. If you look in the chat, everyone is saying she needs to be with Shaq. Yeah.
Okay, can someone tell me what Shaq is? What's Shaq?
Oh, Shaq is Shaquana Teasley. She is the CEO of Agate Solution, and she teaches hazmat certifications and HTC classification, and she has like in that type of world. Which if you already have those classifications and those certifications, she can definitely point you into some directions. With people with whether it's employment or contract work as far as like certifying.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Okay, because I'm certified for both DOT, which is highway, and as well as in the air. So that was my next question is dispatching. Would it be welcome for the airlines?
Yeah, they call it something different when it goes down to the ocean and air. It's not, I don't think it's called dispatching, it's called something different. But there's definitely ways to use the certifications that you already have in a different area when with dealing with air cargo, ocean cargo, containers, and things like that. Since you're already certified, I'm actually taking my test in April, so maybe you can give me the answers. So Well,
I can help it, but see, here's the thing: when it comes to your the books and the guidelines, it is what it is. You don't have to second guess it. All you need to know is where to find your answer at, because everything is in black and white.
I already got my book.
They're all there in text.
This big old book.
Okay, put it back up. Let me see, what is that? A dictionary, international trade. Okay, so that's something different. So you're doing the international trade, but you're also
I'm
doing.
I'm getting my classification in hazmat.
Okay. So you're doing that European and all that stuff on the highway.
Globally.
Right, but highway meaning like it's for road only.
No.
Right?
Oh. What I'm learning, what I just got out of Shaq's class. So what we were learning there was more so air and ocean cargo.
Oh, awesome. Okay. And so they are totally different.
Yeah. So shoot me an email after class, and I'll definitely get you over in the right direction.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for answering my questions.
You're welcome. Miss Powell. You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
I have a question just because I'm a full-time worker, employed full-time. Does anyone ever do this dispatching like on a part-time basis?
It depends. What do you do full-time?
What do I do full-time? I work at AT&T.
So are you able to talk and be on a computer and still maintain your full-time job?
Not during those hours from 6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m.
And I'll tell you why. Jorie can correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Most carriers, or most of the work that we do is doing the paper. From 6 o'clock in the morning till, like you said, 2 o'clock. We're talking to carriers because, the brokers have to be open. Of course, we send emails and stuff like that. I tell people all the time, it's not one of those part-time evening type of things. You have to be able to communicate with your carriers, talk to the brokers and things like that. So for me, it'll be a little difficult. But Jorie, what do you think?
I would say do you work remotely?
Yes.
All right. So if you work remotely, that's working in your benefit. When I first opened my dispatch company, I was working full time for somebody else, and I would say that it was a challenge. I had to do things, when I could. but I knew I had to put the effort into building my systems, which would then allow me to, you know, dispatch at any time. But like Tawana said, prime time, especially if you need to be on that load board, is 6 a.m. to noon. You're communicating, you're like going back and forth so much with different brokerages and carriers and updates and all this kind of stuff. So, I mean, technically you could, but that means you would have had to build your system. So if you're starting out, it's a little challenging. It's ambitious to say that you can do that during that time.
So what if you try to work for someone else that's still during that time frame?
It depends on what you're asking. It depends on what they're asking. Let me say it like that, Tawana, because if you're asking, if you're saying, hey, you just want to get the experience in the industry, you don't want to be a dispatcher, but you want to do check calls in the afternoon, maybe that'll get you some exposure, and then eventually you can take on a bigger role once you have contacts. But when it comes to like creating that thing, man, like from out of nothing, you need that time.
Yeah. It'd be kind of difficult. Like for me coming in, if, you know, if somebody was to apply with me, my first question that I ask people is what your daytime looks like. Because you can't miss a call from a broker, or you can't miss a call from a carrier that's stuck on the side of the road and he's on his way to a shipment, and you put him on hold and you trying to, you know, help me get my phone service back up, but he trying to get back on the road. It's like, who more important, you know? So it's kind of difficult. It's definitely one of those things where you have to have your systems in play and, you know, have your trucks moving, you know, maybe, you know, if they were, I don't know. I just think it's difficult to do. You'd have to figure out some type of workaround that would work for you and your carriers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a call center worker, but I can and I can maneuver some.
Yeah,
but
you feel like you can talk on the phone, you can respond to emails. If a carrier calls you and he has questions about his load, if you feel like, you know, you can handle that type of thing with one or two carriers first, you know, not taking on 5 or 6 carriers, because that's your whole day. But yeah, 1 or 2 carriers at first, you know, it's possible as long as you're not someone that's constantly on the phone doing your daytime job.
Okay, so if I just try to work with one carrier.
Starting out with 1 or 2 carriers first, and then you're like, okay, this is cool, I can do this, I don't need all that time. And then you move on from there. But if you can handle that carrier, handle their responsibilities, make sure that you have that same customer service with them, then, you know, that'll let you know from there, you know, how many more carriers you can actually take on.
Okay, because I did take your course last year, but I
thought your name looked familiar, but I ain't want to last year, honey.
I know. well, my plans are to retire.
Okay.
in a couple of years, you know, from the company, from corporate. But and I was just trying to find something to do until I reach that age that I need to be, you know.
I agree. Send me an email after class.
Okay.
All right. Send me an email after class.
Okay.
When it comes to taking your courses virtually, are the times in the evening? I'm in a different time zone and trying to see how I can take a class. So it depends. So if you are doing your own private session, then we coordinate with your time. If you are doing like a session that I have already on my website, all of my classes are taught during my time, which is Eastern Standard Time. So if you see it on the website, it'll say 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you just have to figure out what time that is where you at. I hope that answers your question, Ms. Blake. Did that answer your question? Yes.
Yeah, I would say that, there was another question of someone asking if you can go through that process of pulling up those new carriers again. Ms. Liscombe, can you please go over how to find new authority on FMCSA again? I accidentally disconnected it.
I'm sorry, for the sake of time, I cannot. But this is recorded and it will be posted. You got to give me about an hour or so, but I will send out the recording as soon as the class is over with. Because like I told you, I'm trying to get on my Peloton by 8 o'clock. And it's already.
I hear you.
But I definitely will post that. All of my dispatch talks are recorded. So after this, I'll get it processed and then we'll get it uploaded. And then I will shoot everyone an email to let them know that it is posted. Yes, I'm 2 hours behind you now. And when the time changes, I'll be 3 hours behind. Ooh, yeah. So you're gonna have to take a nap before taking class, Miss Blake. You gotta take a nap. Let's see, Miss Powell be like night and just do it. I know that's right, Miss Tina. She always gonna come with some motivation.
Always. I love it. I love it, man.
That's what's up. Let me see. Did I miss anything? Anybody have any additional questions? Any final statements? Anything that we can help you with? You got about 8 minutes. As soon as I said, what would be your suggestion for someone who is having issues dispatching out of a particular area? 5-star dispatch. Step to the mic. Where you at, 5-star?
Yes, hello, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So, well, first of all, thank you to you both. Both of you guys have been very informative.
Thank you.
I have been doing this for about 2 to 3 years now. And maybe both of you guys can help me in this because it sounds like both of you guys are in Georgia. So I'm having an issue dispatching out of Georgia. And It just seems like the lows down there are not, the rates are not as good. If I get a driver pull down there, it's hard to get them out. And that's not even talk about Florida. That's a whole nother. So I'm just, what suggestions would you give or offer for that? I'm trying to build relationships as you guys discussed. And it's a new area. But of course I have a driver that needs to run every day. So I'm, trying to remain successful.
So this driver that you're dealing with, are they based in Georgia? They're
based out of Georgia. Mm-hmm.
What type of equipment?
They're power only.
Okay, my bad. Go ahead, Tawana. You were getting to where we were about to get to. She asked, "Are they local?
Are they only running local loads?"
Oh no! They're not running local. They're over the road, so they're willing to, go different places or good amounts. I've been able to pull them to Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, but it's just not consistent.
So they're regional.
Yes, they're regional.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All
right. And your question is, how do you go about dispatching if they're in some hard spots?
Yeah, I'm noticing that closer to Atlanta area, the loads are just not there. And it seems like a lot of loads are pulling out of Savannah, Midway.
Can they do port work?
No, they don't have a twit. They don't have a twit car, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't want to put him on port work.
Okay.
I don't know. I've been studying the load boards and just trying to see. Okay, maybe I'm missing something. Just trying to find.
Walk me through. Can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Walk me through your search. Tell me what to put in these areas.
So I would go into power only.
Oh, you just put here?
Mm-hmm.
She would slide over to where she only. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I'm sorry. And so that way it only pulls up power only. And then generally I would put in the origin. I usually try different. So let's just say Atlanta. And sometimes I'll do 150 miles radius or 200-mile radius. That's pretty much my max. Even if I need to pull them out of North Carolina. Both. I don't even worry about the length or the weight because I pretty much know. And then the date, you have that. That's it. Sometimes if I'm trying to get them in a certain area, I'll put that destination. If I'm trying to get them in, I don't know, South Carolina or something. But for the most part, I just hit search from there just to bring everything up.
All right. Okay, so that's pretty decent. The only thing that I would change with that is I would also add V for van. Even though in your mind you're thinking that it's power only and most of the V for van are going to be trailers, that is not always the case. Sometimes it can be loadout trailers as well. So do you utilize loadout trailers at all?
I don't. And I know I will get a lot of loads and call a lot of people, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, you can pick up this trailer, and we'll pay you $1,200 to run 1,000,000 miles." And that's because they want you to load out on it for 3 days. But the only thing about that is, when you're talking about using somebody's trailer, then you're dealing with loading, and then your driver is sitting for a few hours getting loaded up when they're used to dropping and hooking, if that makes sense.
So does your driver more so just want to stick to just dropping hooks?
Yeah, for the most part. Maybe the loadout is something that I need to look into. What do you think? I mean, I haven't tried it yet. So if you suggest that, maybe that's something I may need to look into.
I definitely think loadouts are beneficial, but the only way a loadout is beneficial is one, because we're depending on the destination, and two, you got to give me 2 weeks. A 3-day loadout or a 5-day loadout is a waste of my time. So if it's something like, going into a decent area and I can utilize this trailer for 2 weeks, it's definitely worth it. But when it comes to power only, you definitely want to be connected. You want to be connected to JB Hunt. You want to be connected to TQL. You want to be connected to Nolan. You want to be connected to Flock Freight. C.H. Robinson, just to kind of name a few.
I'll name a couple more.
Go ahead.
Uber Loop, like you want to be a part of, and you want to be a part of Convoy. So those are probably going to be some things that really help you, because the freight tech companies, they here for the power onlys. So if you can find a freight tech. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to write it down. Uber Loop, is that UberLoop?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Convoy. Let me write that down. Okay, great.
So make those your contacts in the mornings. Let people know where you guys are located, but make those your main contacts. Reach out to these brokers directly to kind of like steer you away from the to the low board, especially when it comes to JB Hunt. JB Hunt ships out power only, like probably 30% of their freight. So, depending on how old his authority is, of course, you have to go through that. But one, reach out to them directly. Two, try the loadout trailers. But just, a loadout trailer going to California is a no-go for me. But depending on where that loadout is going and how long they're going to allow me to have that loadout, keep in mind, you're not making your money on the loadout. Okay, most loadout is not going to be, going 2,000 miles, paying $4,000. They just want you to get that trailer from point A to point B. So it's not you trying to get your money from the loadout, but it's you utilizing that trailer, you maximizing those 2 weeks, or you maximizing those 7 days while you have their trailer in hand. But definitely do more of the direct reaching out to these brokers with these power onlys, and definitely try some of the loadouts. Right now, Georgia is not a great market. You're either not going to get a great rate, and even if it's something where it's not so much of a great rate, carriers have to have the understanding that sometimes to get you out of a bad market, you have to take a bad rate. So it may be 400 miles, only paying $600 or only paying $800, but it's going into a better market. So pay attention to your market. You should be paying attention. I don't know if you don't have sonars, definitely paying attention to your market and understanding why Georgia is the way it is. Georgia is the way it is right now because it just ain't no doggone freight in Georgia.
Okay. That's what I'm trying to understand. What is a good way to keep up with that as far as the market in different states? I am on DAT and I do have power.
Okay, so if you have DAT power, you should definitely be paying attention to your market conditions. And it'll explain to you why certain areas don't have, the freight or whatever the case may be at that particular time. Why does it keep saying it? Okay, so you want to know, y'all can see my screen, right? Okay.
Yeah.
You want to know why, Georgia is the way it is. And it's been that way for the past couple of months. And it's also slow season. Things are going to pick up in April. But it's also slow season. So it's so many different factors in that, but pay attention to your market, understand where the freight is. But this is the time to build your relationships, because power owners is not, not always the good things to find. Is more so on relationships and load boards. Okay. So
Right.
pay attention to your market, understand, it may not be so good in Georgia, but if you can get him, 300 or 400 miles out to a better area. And then again, he's only going regional and he doesn't have port. So, I mean, he takes away a lot. And when I say port, a lot of people, when they think port, they only think the containers. That's not always the only thing that's going into the port. It could be a regular dry van that's going into the port. But you can't get over there because you ain't got no toy car. So
Right.
$125 for a 5-year TWIC car, you take away from a lot of your opportunities. Okay. So pay attention to the market and reach out to those brokers directly, and build your relationship with those brokers directly. If you've already been running some loads and you already have some contacts, making sure that you're reaching out to those contacts. Hey, I ran this lane for you last week. Do you have anything else available? And so on and so forth.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Great information. I appreciate you both.
No problem.
No doubt. Also, one last thing, Tank, might as well tell her about signing your carry up for Unitas Global.
Yeah, I was going to say Tank, but his is mostly, hell, I got
high volume.
Very high volume.
He did say he's going to get his TWIC card. So if he's going to get his TWIC card, then that's probably going to make, bring a lot of openings, a lot of more opportunities. Is Tank, what is Tank? I've never heard of that. I'm sorry.
It's a brother. It's a guy who is
person.
hitting. He hitting in this industry. Okay, this brother hitting. Okay.
Yeah, he has a lot of power only lanes. A lot of them are in the Midwest. I have a few of my guys on some dedicated stuff for him. But if you shoot me an email, I will. I'll send you the link to see his loads.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharinda. Miss Ivy, I love her. She out wherever I am, she is. Love her to death. Thanks so much, Dory. Thank you for being here, Miss Tina. What are some good load boards for beginners? DAT Power is your #1 board. That's for beginners. That's for anybody. If you don't have anything else, it should be DAT Power. It's not going to be DAT Edge. If you are a dispatcher and you only paying $39 for your load board, you are doing yourself and your drivers a disservice. All right. Spend the money, $149 a month. All right. DAT Power is a must. And definitely don't forget about the company load boards. Nolan has their own. C.H. Robinson has their own. J.B. Hunt has. We always think about the ones you pay for. But keep in mind, C.H. Robinson is one of the top 5 brokers in the country. They don't put all their load boards on, all their loads on the load board. You got to go over to their free company load board to find some of their loads. Jorie?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I started out with Internet Truck Stop, and then that was when I was working for the corporation. Then moved over to DAT. That is the load board of choice right now. If you have a carrier that has multiple box trucks, you better talk them into getting selected. That's all I got to say, because it's time consuming being on DAT trying to dispatch a box truck. And that same thing for the hot shots too. And there's a brokerage out here called Exo Freight for that hot shot. I saw Khalifa saying something about hot shots. You might want to sign up with them, because there's some good folks over there. And I believe that's pretty much it. All I had to say about that one.
Good one. Love it. All right. Jackie says power is 170. I'm sorry to hear that, Jackie. I don't pay 140. I don't pay 170. I'm sorry you paying 170, Jackie. But yeah, for those huh? I should stop giving out all that bad information, huh? I'm sorry. Y'all gonna have to pay $169 for DAT Power. Hey, Miss Jackie, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Any information about international freight? My information is to log on to agatesolutionsUSA.com. She is the international guru. There's a lot of agate scholars on this platform here tonight. But Shaq, I know you guys have heard us saying that. We say things like Tank and Shaq. they're nicknames. The website, I think it's Agate Solutions USA. Let me see.
It is.
It is Agate Solutions USA.com. Yeah, let me drop this down to you. But if you want to go into anything globally, if you want to learn anything when it comes to international, Miss Tina was in the class, Jorie was in the class. I saw some other agate scholars that was on the class, but she teaches anything global logistics, anything international, anything cargo. She has the most amazing drayage class out there. But yeah, that's the only thing I can tell you about international freight, Jasmine, because I haven't finished reading that big ass book yet. So I would not be teaching international freight at all. I'm just gonna be a learner on that one. You're welcome. All right, I think I got everybody. Loadout is good. 7-day swing doors. Exactly. Loadouts must have swing doors. And make your money with that. Definitely agree. Thank you, Sharinda. But Mr. Jorie, let's wrap this up. Tell the people something good before we go.
All right, look, join us Wednesday. We're every single Wednesday on the Transportation and Logistics Clubhouse. We're bringing folks that are only going to bring value to what you got going on. If you're a logistics professional, transportation professional, if there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. I'm in this industry, I'm here to learn, I'm here to grow, I'm here to do all the things I need to do to leave a legacy for my family, so I'm here to help. So just reach out if you need anything from me. And, I appreciate you, Tawana, always for being a resource. Again, I don't know if you can tell this, but every time I see you, I'm smiling. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you so much, so just thank you.
And so this, I tell everybody, I kind of can't say it enough. You don't need to make friends with everybody in the industry, but you got to network in this industry, because there's so much information that, you learn from Jories, and you learn from the Tinas, and you learn from the Sharindas. And, you don't have to teach a class to learn something from someone, but you always have to be willing to learn in this industry. If you feel like you took a class and you were expert, this is not the industry for you. Because FMCSA gonna change something tomorrow, I promise you. But you just have to make sure that you're going and grabbing that information. But thank you so much, Jorie, for being here. You're always there when I need you. Shaq's website, I just posted it. I posted again right there. Yes, somebody said something about Indeed. Yes, I do post on Indeed, and I post on Craigslist. I post on meetthedriver.com. I have ads constantly. I think Miss Crockett, you're gonna be my final question. Go ahead and take yourself on mute.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for taking my question. I just have a few questions. I'm seeking some advice. I try to follow you on these Mondays when I have time. My father is going to be my first client. He's been in the industry about 40 years now. And my father is he is stuck in his old ways. I'm trying to get him out of old things and turn him on to the fast track now. So he has a dispatcher, she's a dispatcher, I guess that's what she calls herself. She's not very dedicated though. She doesn't hustle for him the way she needs to. I am in school and I work full time, but I'm about to take control. I'm actually teaching my mom. I had my mom listening on with you guys. I am looking for like a dedicated run for him. We're in between Louisiana and Texas. He has a 56-foot step deck. So we're in between like flatbed and step deck. It just depends. He it's open. He's, you know, he runs over the road. He's been over the road for a while. Like we use Internet Truck Stop. We use that. We use oh my goodness, I can't think. It's about 2 or 3 different boards he has. But sometimes like when he's looking for freight, by the time he may call on a load, it may be gone. He was just talking to my mom, telling her that he like missed out on 2 loads today because of wherever he's up on the East Coast now, and the lady she's out partying for Mardi Gras instead of trying to hustle freight. So I'm trying to learn as much as I can. I really don't know where to start. I don't know which one of your products I need to purchase. Just some advice on like starting out. I have restored the resources because he's been in the game for so long, but I want to make sure that I'm guiding him the right way, or that I'm learning what I need to learn as much as I can learn. I'm actually planning to come to one of your events in Atlanta as well. So I want to make sure that I'm getting as much as I can. And I'm headed down the right path in order to help him.
Ooh, that was loud, girl. I have one thing to say to you. Email me after class.
Okay. Okay.
Email me after class. Let's set up a call.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. Yes, Miss Randolph, this recording will be on YouTube in about maybe 30 to 40 after I get off Peloton. But yeah, it'll be on YouTube. It'll also be on my website, but you will get an email since you registered for this class to let you know that the recording is ready for you to view. And all of the recordings that I've done in the past years for Dispatch Talk is on YouTube. So we're gonna cut it. I told y'all just an hour just not good enough for y'all. You just want to talk and talk. And
Gotta get all the gems. Gotta get all the gems. I gotta soak it up.
That's what's up. That's why I do it, man. You know, every month, I'm dedicated to making sure that I sit on this call and answer your questions and make sure that you guys can be successful in the businesses that you want to be in. So check us out next month. Check Jorie out this coming Wednesday on Clubhouse, and be sure to follow him on IG. Jorie, once again, I thank you, everyone. I thank you guys for being here, for always supporting me. It's so good to see some of these faces. I mean, Miss Jasmine, Miss Jessica Brown, I don't care what I post, she gonna sign up for it. She's just so supportive. I really appreciate you guys. Tiffany, thank you guys for being here. I hope it was helpful once again. Great to see my classmate Avis on here. But that's it, you guys. Again, thank you for being here. Always reach out if you have any questions, but just always remember, in anything that you do, is going to take time. It is going to take work. Just as much as you work a corporate America job and you work for someone else, you have to do double that for yourself. But again, thank you guys for being here, and I look forward to seeing you guys with all your success. And you guys have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Tawana. You too.
Bye.
All right now.
Bye. Thank y'all.
Good night.